Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Wednesday, February the 9th, 2022. It's 3:30 p.m. I'd like to welcome you to the Business and Utilities Subcommittee. Call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Representatives Alexander, Calfee, Hazelwood, Hodges, Holsclaw, Johnson, Manis, Thompson, Vaughn, Vidal, Zachary, Chairman Boyd.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I detect a quorum. Do any members have any personal orders before we begin today? Seeing none, let's go ahead and begin. A little housekeeping here. Item number 1 has been taken off of notice. Since this bill's been calendared 3 times, it is referred to the special calendar to be published with the final calendar. And next up, we have item number 2. That's House Bill 1946 by Representative Haston. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Haston, you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this bill is it offers consumer protection to those who have entered into a contract to sell real estate via an unsolicited offer through the mail. My office hopefully sent out an example of this letter that to your email inboxes. And I get 1 or 2 of these a month, and some of you may get them as well. And what really happens is a lot of time from out-of-state businesses will send in a contract and an offer to buy someone's real estate, usually at a very low rate. Usually it's something like $30,000 for 100 acres. And it can be worded, I've gotten some that are worded in a very manipulative way, saying that basically it sounds like you're getting that per acre almost. And all this does is allow for an opportunity for, if it is preying on somebody that might be elderly or somebody that needs to be checked up on, there's a confirmation letter that comes back from the, after the receipt has been, from the offerer. Once the seller gets that letter back, from that point, they have 30 days to get out of it without penalty. And just offers a little bit of a window there for the seller or somebody that's coming in to check in on maybe their grandfather or grandmother that signed something and sent it off, to be able to check and make sure that it's something that needs to be looked into. That's what the bill does.
Sponsor, thank you for that explanation. Members, do we have any questions? Representative Thompson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious when it said by mail on the bill, is that only by snail mail, by postage versus email, or is email count too?
No, it's just unsolicited through the mail. Yes.
Okay then.
Sorry, go ahead if you had.
Oh, just to me, it looks like a great bill.
Sponsor, you recognized.
Thank you. We work with this with the realtors, and this is an idea I brought to them, and I think it really does help protect a lot of real estate agents that are working within the law, and that we need to make sure we protect.
Representative Thompson, recognized.
I would look at this as a good start. It's we have and this seems to be geared towards rural areas, which I can definitely see your problem, and we have a similar problem in urban areas that I've been solicited myself about 5 times this week already to buy my home and turn it into rental property. So anyway, I appreciate you bringing this.
Sponsor, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Members, do we have any other questions for the sponsor? The question has been called for. Without objection, members, we are voting on House Bill 1946. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bill's on its way to full commerce.
Thank you.
Members, next up, we have item number 3. That's House Bill 1831 by Representative Lamar.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Lamar, you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an untimely filed amendment that, should we take care of that first before I get to the bill?
It's the policy of this committee not to accept untimely filed amendments. So if you want to describe the bill as amended now, or is there an amendment on it already, or?
I submitted an amendment today.
But there was not a previous one, so go ahead and describe the bill to us without the amendment, if you will.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much. This bill that I am proposing today is called Natural Gas Detectors in Homes. What we're seeing across this nation and in Tennessee, we have aging main pipes between 50 and 100 years old that cause gas leaks, and they lead to explosions. There are 1.3 million miles of gas main pipes, and only 5.6 miles of pipes are replaced each year. Again, that's 1.3 million, but only 5.6 miles of these gas pipes are fixed a year. 4,200 home structure fires are started via natural gas explosions every year, and that's according to the Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration 2018 study, Every 2 days, an explosion happens involving natural gas pipelines. 40 people die and 140 people are injured every year from gas explosions. Also, we know it's approximately $50 million every year that is spent, according to the United States Energy Information Administration. Now, why does that matter for Tennessee? Well, on December 9th, 2009, in Knoxville, an 18-year-old boy was killed from a gas explosion. In November 12th of 2018, in Anderson County, a 78-year-old man was hospitalized. And of September 3rd, 20, in Memphis, Tennessee, 7 people were seriously injured from a gas explosion. February 1st, 2021, in Nashville, a firefighter lost his home and all his family belongings because of a natural gas explosion. And on February 17, 2021, in Sevierville, there was a natural gas explosion. You've also seen recently in the news, 17 people died in the Bronx from a gas explosion, and numerous people died in Philly from a gas explosion. Now, what natural gas alarms provide residents is early warnings to escape a home, just like a smoke detector or carbon monoxide detector provides. Gas alarms also provide protection for firefighters responding to a gas leak, where firefighters are in danger when approaching a home that has a gas leak. A gas leak can occur in an apartment building when there is no one is home, and the gas may not be smelt by the people next door if it has an odor. And it allows people to be able to call 911 if gas is detected in a home. Now, what my bill does is, you see there is an actual problem when it comes to natural gas detection in our homes. But what my bill does is to start that process, providing more protections for people from natural gas explosion. So what my bill would do is require apartment buildings and rental properties to have a natural gas detector if they have natural gas appliances in their homes. So this is a preventative and proactive measure we're taking to reduce the probability or the likelihood that someone dies from a gas explosion, because what we do know is sometimes you can't even smell the gas, as data has proven. And so what this is something that is about public safety. It's a real issue that's going on. It's an issue that's happening not only in our urban communities, but in our rural communities too. And so I wanted to present this bill to offer a solution. The average cost of a gas detector is only $80, $85. It's not a heavy lift. It's not very, very expensive. And if landlords are taking the responsibility to house someone, they have to take the responsibility to provide a living facility that is safe. And what we do know here in Tennessee is that there are approximately 2.5 million apartments, and about 40% of those have natural gas use in them. So with that being said, that's an explanation of my bill and why I'm pushing it.
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. And it was just brought to my attention that you actually have someone that you'd like to testify on your behalf, and that's Ron Lazarus from Cosmos USA. So would you like him to testify? So members, without objection, we are going out of session. Ron, if you will have a seat down here and just be sure to turn your microphone on and state your name for the record.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and the committee members. My name is Ron Lazarus, and I'm the COO of New Cosmos USA, and I'm here to support Representative Lamar in the support of the House Bill 1831 for the installation of natural gas alarms in residential homes. So I thought I'd give you maybe a little bit about my background. I've spent about 30 years in the life safety products industry. I'm currently, as I mentioned, COO of New Cosmos USA. I'm a voting member for the NFPA 715 committee, and we're in the process of developing a standard for natural gas alarms. And the standard right now, the way it's being proposed, will require one gas alarm in every room where there's a natural gas appliance. I'm also a voting member for the Underwriters Laboratory, what they call the Standards Technical Panel. And we're also developing a new standard for UL 1484, which is the product standard for natural gas or fuel gas alarms. And I'm also a voting member for NEMA, which is the National Electrical Manufacturers Association as well. So Representative Lamar reviewed a few items, and I was just going to add some additional items regarding natural gas and how natural gas alarms save lives. In New York, as you've probably heard, there's been several gas explosions over the last few years. Most recently, in the last 3 weeks, there's probably been 2 other gas explosions that were, people's lives were lost. Con Edison, the gas alarm utility in New York, is actually the first utility to start installing natural gas alarms in people's homes. They've installed about 85,000 alarms, and since then they've actually found over 800 gas leaks. Those are leaks that would have gone undetected without our alarms. Those were all potentially could have been devastating, events. In Japan, actually, New Cosmos Electric started in Japan over 60 years ago. And residents in Japan use natural gas. They also suffered about 50 lives a year being lost as a result of natural gas explosions. There, it's required now that natural gas be installed, and natural gas alarms be installed. Since then, literally since 2019, there's been 0 deaths as a result of gas explosions. So gas alarms definitely make a difference. And as Representative Lamar mentioned, natural gas is really odorless, and the utility companies, they add to it a chemical called mercaptan, and that helps develop, provide that odor. But because of COVID, a lot of people have lost their sense of smell. Elderly may not smell that gas. Or if gas is in a confined area, you may not be able to smell that gas before it's too late. So again, if you have a gas alarm, it'll give you that early warning. Some other states that have actually enacted fuel gas bills, their bill actually requiring gas alarms was effective January 1 of this year. Massachusetts has a bill that's pending. New York has a bill that's pending but will go into effect, which is right after the NFPA standard, and NFPA 715 standard is passed, and that will be voted on probably in May or June of this year. New Jersey has a bill that's pending, and Illinois has a bill that's pending, and then obviously now Tennessee is one that's pending. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have and assist in the process in any way I can.
Thank you, Ron, for talking with us today. Members, do we have any questions while we're out of session for Mr. Lazarus? If not, Ron, thank you. Sure. Oh, Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lazarus, about what percentage of your of New Cosmos's revenue comes from the sale of natural gas alarms?
Currently in the U.S., it's 100% of our sales.
Okay. Thank you,
Chairman
sir.
Vaughn, you're recognized.
We've only been selling product in the U.S. for the last 2.5 years or so. In Japan, it's been in business for 63 years.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Members, any other questions for Mr. Lazarus? If not, Ron, thank you for coming today. Members, we're going back into session.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members.
And we're back on the bill. Members, do we have any questions for the sponsor? Representative Lamar, you recognized.
Yes, I requested the fire marshal, Mr. Gary, was to be able to speak upon this bill, and I was wondering if that's still appropriate.
Yes.
He's here today, our fire marshal.
Yeah, if fire marshal would like to testify, come on up. Members, we're going back out of session again. Mr. Farley, just be sure to turn your microphone on and state your name for the record.
All right, Gary Farley, I'm the Assistant Commissioner overseas, and I oversee the State Fire Marshal's Office. I was asked to come today if there's any questions on behalf of the sponsor and I'll be more than glad to take any questions that the committee may have.
Members, do we have any questions for Mr. Farley? Representative Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And I have a question. When I've heard about fire explosions, I've heard it's usually like somebody opens the door and their house goes. Is that what you see the most of?
Mr. Farley, you're recognized.
An explosion can happen in multiple ways. It could be when air hits a fire.
Right.
A fire could be free burning, and it could hit the fire. When the air hits it, it could, like a backdraft
Right.
explosion. If there's a natural gas leak, it could be someone going in and cutting on a light switch, so an arc
Right.
or something, or if a pilot light of a gas unit may kick on, and once that
Gas is released.
gas is released and it hits that pilot light, it could cause an explosion. So it can happen in multiple ways.
Representative Alexander?
Would a detection device help with that, like with the pilot light thing?
Yes, ma'am.
It would.
Yes, ma'am.
So you would have enough gas in your house that it would pick up on that.
There could be a natural gas leak that could have enough, like the LEL, the lower explosive level,
Okay.
to be hit enough, and it could cause an explosion.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Chairman Vaughn, you recognized.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for being here, Commissioner. I have a little bit of hesitancy with this bill because it was not brought by Fire Protection Services out of a local problem that we've seen generated by fire departments and other places around the state that says, hey, we've got a looming problem and we need help with this looming problem. Because I know that we've got a situation here where we've got a manufacturer who's obviously got technology that can address a situation. Our bill sponsor is doing her best to work to protect those, protect Tennesseans. But with regards to this not originating from Fire Protection Services, local code officials, that type of situation, I'm wondering how big of an issue is this? Because with everything, there's a cost-benefit analysis. And I know that if you're the one who has a loss, then you certainly, everybody else doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I'm not diminishing that, but I'm trying to figure out why this has not originated from a local code perspective. I mean, I know in our jurisdiction, we require sprinklers for houses over 5,000 square feet.
Right.
But I haven't seen our fire marshal in my district coming forward to the local mayor and board of aldermen saying, hey, this is something that we need to protect our citizens. So the blanket approach of this over the entire state and not on a local level is something that concerns me and seems like it's a little bit out of the norm as far as the way that this is presented. So could you speak to that with regards to local code adoption and why this is how this originated or why it didn't originate within the Fire Protection Service?
Mr. Farley, you recognized.
Yes, sir. Right now, I don't know of anywhere in the code, the fire code or the building code, that this is a requirement. Will it at some point, someday? Probably so. Things only happen when the code is changed is when things happen. And sometimes it may take years for example, when people died in assembly occupancies before they had panic hardware, it caused the code changed and they had to have panic hardware. So at some point, it may be coming into the code. As how it came about, I really don't know and how that, and really can't answer that question. But will it save lives? Yeah. Why it's not in the code yet? The committee on the codes at the NFPA or the building ICC has not, just hadn't brought it up yet that I'm aware of.
Chairman Vaughn?
Well, thank you, sir. And I guess that's kind of my point to be made here is we can always provide incremental protection. We could require that every home be sprinkled, regardless of size, regardless of construction type, and that too has the potential for saving lives. And so I'm trying to find the balance between here, and as you mentioned, you know, I guess what was it after the Bally's fire out in Las Vegas?
Yes.
That Panic Hardware was established, but it was a demonstrated need that got addressed. I guess from my perspective on this one, it would seem like if there was a similar demonstrated need, that our local fire protection services or fire officials would have brought it forward, and we would have seen at least one local jurisdiction adopt this somewhere in Tennessee. So this committee is being asked to say that, hey, even though it has never been adopted anywhere in the state before, we should have adopted all the way across the state in one fell swoop. And to me, that doesn't seem like that's the way the system with regards to codes and other protective issues is designed to work. And so, you know, I'm hesitant on this bill because of that. And is it technology that could be useful in the marketplace? Yes. Would it be interesting to see what a pilot study and the statistics would yield, and whether or not it is something that we need to see across the entire state in one fell swoop? That would be an interesting exercise. But just right now, I don't know of any other thing that could you maybe, and I haven't been here forever, so
Right.
you've been in your role a lot longer than I've been in this role. Is there something that you have seen that has followed the similar path of the legislature legislating something into a protective manner that did not originate from a grassroots problem being solved in the field by the professionals?
Mr. Farley?
I retired as a chief from a local jurisdiction and came here 11 years ago. And to answer your question, I don't remember anything, but that's not saying it hadn't, but I don't remember. Yeah.
Chairman Vaughn, you got anything else?
Well, Mr. Chairman, this gives me pause, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to come across in a situation to where you're not being sensitive and you're being perceived as either careless or reckless because you're not mandating that someone buy protective equipment. But at the same time, we're struggling with an issue that would be a mandate for technology that we...
Chairman Vaughn, we're still out of session.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this directed at
Well,
Mr. Farley?
I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm struggling with, and while we've got the chief here, I'm trying to figure out if he can give me some clarity on this issue, because I'm struggling with it mightily.
But I will say this, and I understand your comments and your questions and stuff like that. My office, we're deferred on the bill as far as a stance, but it is a life safety situation where it could save somebody's life. And right now, it's not in the code. There's no requirement right now for it to be. And will it be in the code one day? I think it will.
Chairman Vaughn, do you have anything for
No, sir.
Mr. Farley?
I'll stop on my stream of consciousness spewing here, and
Members?
until the chief is not here.
Do we have anything while we have Mr. Farley with us? Any questions for Mr. Farley? If not, Mr. Farley, thank you for coming. Appreciate
you.
your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Representative Lamar, I don't have anybody else. Is there anybody else you were wanting to have speak while we're out of session, or? Okay. All right, members, we are back in session and we are back on the bill. Representative Lamar, it looked like you had something to say?
No, I don't have a question. I'm open for any more questions from the committee or comments.
Okay. Members, you've heard her explanation of the bill and you've heard the testimony. Are there any questions? I've got a list here. I've got Chairman Vaughn. You're recognized. Could you come back to me, Mr. Chairman? Representative Chairman Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a group come and meet with me about this bill, and I understand the intent. I mean, I really do. And I think it is something that does require further exploration. And just based on the fact we don't have an amendment that was timely filed, and then just based on the fact that I think for many of us reading the bill today is the first time we have had any exposure to this, knowledge of this. I knew nothing about this until it was talked to me about today, until I talked about it today. And so, Mr. Chairman, Committee, based on that, I think there is probably significant work that needs to be done on this, and probably a learning curve for all of us. I would recommend and motion to summer study this bill.
We have a motion to send to summer study. Do we have a second? We have a second. Members, without objection, we'll send this to summer study.
Thank you.
Thank you, sponsor. Members, that concludes our business for the day. So without objection, this meeting is adjourned.